All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're nearing the end of the Indiana Fever fan gate investigation. The WNBA has let us know it's come to a wrap, and there's been an apology. So I want to talk about it. I want to bring us full circle. I want to talk about the apology, talk about all the statements that are said, and just kind of hopefully let's put a bow on this one and let's all move forward and hopefully just keep it about basketball, keep it about the fun stuff instead of all this extracurricular BS that the fans have had to endure through this scenario. So, if you want to know more about the origin of this story and what kind of led to the investigation, all that info, I have a video. I'll leave it down in the comment section. Check it out. But without further ado, let's bring it up. The WNBA has released a statement, and they issued that statement today. They said, "We have investigated the report of racist fan behavior in the vicinity of the court during the May 17th, 2025 Chicago Sky at Indiana Fever game. Based on information gathered to date, including from relevant fans, team, arena staff, as well as audio and video review of the game, we have not substantiated it. The WNBA is committed to fostering a safe and inclusive environment for everyone and will continue to be vigilant in enforcing our fan code of conduct." Now, good statement. Potentially, you would think that, oh, maybe we learned a little bit more, that it was something that was said in the vicinity of the court. Although, however, a lot of the Twitter stuff that was going up there was around voices that were made. The reason those voices, that the yodeling or the flights react sound was getting picked up was because it's near the mics, which are down by the courts. As I've learned, I think they're near like the baskets and stuff, or one of the score tables, or so. They're somewhere down on the court, and so that's why you'll hear certain people, certain fans become stars of the show because they'll commentate. I think one of the last games, there's like these two Fevergate fans that were basically like, "Come on," like all the time. And they were kind of like the spirit animal of the fans for the entire game if you watch the broadcast. But needless to say, we don't fully have a ton of specific details. Hopefully the WNBA learns from this. And so here's what I'll say. Here's how I'm going to process this and move forward. Now, I could bah humbug and make a big deal out of drama. I don't want to do that. And all I want is that when a scenario happens, the WNBA has new attention. When a new scenario happens, they learn from it and then they change how they operate going forward. If the next time one of these things comes through, we get a statement after investigating it that says this information, then great. But if they front load, "Hey, we're doing this investigation to calm the people down because Twitter's up in a roar," then we're gonna go back to the conversation of what needs to happen next with how people want to approach viewing the WNBA, so on and so forth. So with all that said, great they completed the investigation. Now we're moving forward. Now, of course, also the teams responded. The Chicago Sky said, this is from Adam Fox, CEO. He says, "We appreciate the quick action by the league and the Indiana Fever to take this matter seriously and to investigate. This process demonstrates the league's strong stance on stopping hate at all WNBA games and events and will continue to support those efforts." We will continue to support those efforts. Okay, kind of basically what I expected from the Chicago Sky. Indiana Fever, on the other hand, Mel Raines, CEO, says, "We appreciate the swift and thorough process undertaken by the WNBA to investigate these allegations, which were not substantiated. At Gainbridge Fieldhouse, we are committed to providing the best possible basketball experience for players and fans where hate speech has absolutely no place. Indiana is home to the world's greatest fans, and we look forward to an exciting season of Fever basketball." And, you know, I got to applaud this. Because specifically they call out there were people that were a little bit hurt by the wording last time that the Fever weren't sticking up for the fans, but you knew they would. And here they are basically saying that we have the greatest fans. We stand with our fans. And we're happy that everything was cleared up. But wait, there's more.
You know, there was a lot of media personalities that kind of ran with this story. Some that in podcasts or on ESPN made statements that seemed to back up the claims of the investigation and make it sound as if it was fact instead of an open investigation. And one of those people was Chiney Ogwumike, who actually has come out with an apology. And so here is that apology.
Hey everybody, I'm sure you've seen the WNBA statement on the investigation, and I want to address this with the same energy I did the first time, because if you really know me, I always try my absolute best to uplift the WNBA, to celebrate the amazing players, the coaches, and of course the fans. That is something that is at the core of everything that I do. But if you know me, you know I'm not afraid to say I can do better. I am sorry that my message was in the heat of the moment, because when I initially spoke on the topic, it really came from a place of care. It was based on firsthand conversations with people very close to the situation who raised real concerns, and they told me what they had experienced. And I felt like it was important and it was necessary to acknowledge those allegations and also voice those experiences. Now, in the process, however, I totally recognize that it may have impacted fans in a way that I did not intend, and I am sorry. I'm also happy that the WNBA treated the matter with the utmost seriousness, followed through with the investigation, and I understand that having a platform comes with a responsibility, and I do not take that lightly. So as our league continues to grow, I am going to grow with it. And I am so committed to be better in how I share perspectives and grow alongside the game that I truly love and adore. I mean, some of my favorite memories as a pro was playing in Indiana, and I truly believe that WNBA, we have the most passionate fans, and I'm grateful for our community. I hope you know that's who I am. All right. Love you guys. Thank you.
Now, I can already see the comments that are going to happen down in this video, and you may not like my take. And again, in the spirit of before, I believe that Chiney does want to do better. I believe she is going to do better. I believe that she understands that she made a mistake, and I necessarily wouldn't expect her to make an apology public this quickly after this event. I thought maybe ESPN would force her. Who knows if there was going to be an apology, what would come out? And so I take her at face value that she will do better. However, hold up before you type your comment. I do understand that this apology is not a great apology, and I'll be happy to point out why. And the main reason is because when you give an apology, the way that it comes off as truly being sincere is that you don't make excuses for your behavior or what you did wrong. You address specifically what you did wrong, you apologize for it, and then you state what steps you're taking going forward to make it better. Now, I've all taught you also how to have a better relationship when you mess up with your partner. But the issue here is she says she's sorry for giving the statement in the heat of the moment. Well, the heat of the moment was kind of created by you. And also that's not addressing the specific thing. The specific thing was, and she does it a little bit where she acknowledges how she made fans, or how it made fans feel, because basically she was basically stating that this investigation, the things that happened there did happen, and that and basically push that onto the Indiana Fever fans. And in this, when she says, hey, and this is what I assume, her sister is the head of the WNBA Players Association. She is a former player. I assume she talks to players that play in Indiana that have told her stories. And it's when she says firsthand discussions, firsthand knowledge is you experienced it. And when you have a firsthand discussion with someone, that becomes secondhand knowledge. You don't know that it's true. You can have trust in that person based on how the relationship you have with them over time and stories. However, like, that doesn't mean that what someone says is fact. And even stories from players that have talked out about the Indiana fan base have changed over time. Alyssa Thomas is a good example where she in her initial statement was like, hey, I experienced this hate firsthand, and then it shifted to online. Or Dejanay Carrington has done it as well, where it's not in-person stuff necessarily. It's besides the lady with the fingernails, that was out of pocket. I don't know what that lady was on. But there are people that are going to be in the audience that are going to say out of pocket stuff. And those people, if they are spewing racist stuff, should be identified, should be removed. Full stop. Nobody disagrees with that. The issue is when you act like when these things happen from individual agitators, people, that is indicative of the entire fan base or what they stand for, or that a crowd full of mostly families, women and children are going to be the ones that, those people are racist and those people are awful people. I mean, yes, they're loud. Yes, Gamebridge is loud. I really want to go to a game there this season, but that doesn't mean that those people no one has described the Gamebridge crowd as besides reporters in the media as being actually hostile or something completely different, or anything that's next to what you will see on videos where if you're wearing the wrong jersey, you're getting trash bags thrown at you and you're getting chased down the street, that kind of stuff, right? Like it's just not the vibe of the crowd. So for this brush to be painted that there's all these racist people because they're in Indiana, which is also silly considering there's teams in Texas and all over, and there's pro teams in all these cities, and there's not all this outrage. It's apparently is only in the WNBA. That's the issue. And so when you don't acknowledge it, when you say like, oh, well, I had firsthand conversations. No, you have secondhand knowledge and you reported it as fact. That is the issue. And in doing so, also, you painted the entire fan base with that brush. That is the issue. And so now what you're going to do different is you're going to make sure that you don't do things in the heat of the moment. You're going to make sure that that when you give your opinion, it is rooted in fact, and it is not painting people with a broad brush. It is specifically honed in on the people that if they did do the thing, they deserve the punishment. And I agree. And we're done. And there's a ton of other little things I could go into with this that make it that just like you don't want to do. And I think that's just like it's part of her. Like the hand movements, the shoulder movements, when you're saying like I'm gonna do something but you're shaking your head, kind of like these are all little mannerisms that everybody has, and I don't think that this is actually indicative of how Chiney really I don't think that she doesn't mean what she's saying. I think that she does recognize that she messed up and she is going to be better in the future. And again, similar to the WNBA, when people mess up, all I ask is that you learn. And if she learns going forward, otherwise, normally in her commentary, I usually don't have as many issues with her. Monica McNutt, some of those other people, very different. But Chiney, I think that she's in an interesting situation because of her sister's role in the league, that she needs to be more careful and hold herself to a higher standard because of it. And I think that she will be better. And I appreciate that she came out and did this apology. Whether you think that it's completely sincere personally or not, I think so personally, but whether you think so or not, I think it is a good step that at least an apology is being made that I honestly didn't expect. And I'm sure that if you don't believe her, you probably didn't expect her to make an apology. So with all that said, that's kind of my take on the whole situation. I hope now, wrap a little bow on this. Hopefully no more shenanigans for the rest of the season. WNBA is usually not pretty good for that. Cheryl Swoops will probably say another thing out of pocket, but that's the problem is you can't give these people attention over and over again. And I could make 100 videos on Cheryl Swoops saying out of pocket stuff, but the reality is they just want the attention. That's how they thrive. That's how they stay relevant. And even though it could give me clicks and views and make other people feel good about why they don't like Cheryl Swoops, that's not the kind of content I want to make. That's not why I'm here. That's not why I'm excited about the Indiana Fever. And I don't want to fuel her by feeding into the negativity that she projects out. And I honestly think that Chiney means well and it's going to be better. So with all that said, let me know what you think down in the comments. Now that I've said my spiel. And remember, you're going to be amazing today because you are amazing. And I'll catch you next episode.
Can we get a little bow, bow, bow to walk it off? Bow, bow, bow. Appreciate it. Thank you.